What's up guys, macadii here, and today guys, week 6 of the Screw My Draft League, where I'm up against George, aka SceptileMC, coach of the San Francisco Arcaniners. Now if you're excited for this, don't forget to leave a like down below, I would really appreciate it. I'm so excited for this match. I have faced George a couple of times, and we're currently 1-1, and he's a fantastic player in the league format, so this is going to be very interesting and really hype match. So what we're going to do is run through what George could potentially bring, what I'm going to bring, and then finally go into the match. So George could potentially bring Zygarde, massive scary DD threat, Moltres, Smeargle, Beartic, Farfetch'd, Vespiquen, Carracosta, Aerodactyl, Donphan, and Dustox. A very spooky set of Pokemon, most notably the Smeargle, because the Smeargle can completely make my day sad, because first of all, it outspeeds everything on my team, which I think my fastest thing is the combination of Hitmonttree, the Breloom, and Bullet Bill, which is not particularly impressive, I must admit. So basically it can set up hazards, it can then just go for Final Gambit to stop me defogging, and just put up whatever it wants, and also outspeeds everything, so it could potentially have a good powerful move that hits one of my 4x weaknesses thing. One thing I'm worried about is potentially something to do with Brave Bird on the Breloom, because it outspeeds, it could kill. If I don't go for Mach Punch or it brings it down to the Sash, that's gonna, it's just sad times basically. Because his own Brave Bird of Mach Punch would be able to beat my Breloom lead, which is not good at all unless I go for the Bullet Seed first time. So it's going to be very iffy. He has Dark Void or even Spore to try and send something to sleep. It's not fun times. So what we'll do is run through my team. One thing I noticed as well is that he hasn't got any really reliably good special attackers outside of Moltres. So I have got one win condition, which is going to be a defensive win condition for this match, which I think is going to be really key. But what we're going to do first is talk about Regigigas, because that's the guy I decided to bring first of all, because I don't know how much he's going to do. He's a special attacking Regigigas with AV, but his main job is to switch into Moltres, because he can take Fire Blasts, even like Life Orb and Specs, he can take them relatively well, which is absolutely crazy. That bulk is absolutely insane. Him Power Rock and all those other coverage moves allow him to hit relatively hard. So we'll just have to see. I'm interested. It's more of a test to see how he does. So I'm very interested to see how he'll perform. We have got Brainwash the Slowbro. This is my win condition because he is a Assault Vest defensive set. So this guy is designed to take hits from the physical side and also the special side and just generally be fat, hard for George to kill. And if I keep switching out with that Regenerator, I'm going to keep healing up and be a massive pain for him to try and deal with. He's relatively weak to ice with a lot of Pokemon, so I can just keep going for Ice Beams. Scalds as well, he hasn't got a reliable switch into that, so Slowbro is going to be huge in terms of my win conditions. I went for 88 in Spadef, which gives me a good amount of Spadef to handle the Moltres, so that means that his his Hidden Power Grasses won't be doing massive amounts, and I can actually do a huge amount back with a Scald or something like that. Next up, we've got Scald King, which is my defogger. I've got this guy, he's designed to take a hit from a +1 Adamant Life Orb Zygarde, if I remember rightly. Maybe not Life Orb, I can't remember it. I think it is Life Orb. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Life Orb I can take with a Sugar Berry at +1. So he's designed to take a hit if necessary at max HP with Scald, Ice Beam, Defog, and Stealth Rocks. The Ice Beam will allow me to do a huge amount to that Zygarde, which is really useful for us. Defog is also a good way to get rid of his hazards that the Smeargle's going to probably put up. And then finally, the Stealth Rocks break any potential sashes and all that stuff, and also for the Moltres as well. Basically, my aim is to wear down and kill that Moltres, and then I'm good to go with Slowbro from there. Next up, we got Lord Helix. He doesn't have much of an answer to this outside of Sticky Web, because without Sticky Web, I outspeed everything, I can kill everything, and do a huge amount of damage, which is absolutely great. Not a huge amount to say about this guy. Him Power Rock to take out the Vespiquen, the Farfetch'd, the Moltres, and Ice Beam and School basically just give me good enough coverage from there. Then we got the Sugar Berry on the Metagross, which is a Rock Polish set with Ice Punch, Grass Knot, and Rock Slide. Hits everything very hard. The Grass Knot there is to allow me to break through the Carracosta if I need to. Ice Punch and Rock Slide allow me to hit everything else really hard, so I don't really need any other coverage apart from that. It also allows me to hit Donphan as well and catch him on the sly. I have got a negative special attack just because I think it's still not 100% necessary with the Grass Knot. Like, I can still do a really good amount to all of them. and I still need that bulk as well to be able to set up that rock polish, so it's definitely worth it in my opinion. And then finally, we have got Hitmontrees, the Focus Sash Breloom. This guy's designed to lead, hopefully take out the Smeargle if we can. 2 Bullet Seeds is potentially enough to take out the Smeargle. It just depends on his HP investment. 3 is a guaranteed Oko, so that is really, really awesome. We've got Mach Punch there for priority, Spore to send one of his Pokemon to sleep, and then finally the Rock Tomb, because that means the Moltres is going to be hit really, really hard as it switches in. So that is everything for the team. So what we're going to do is transition over to the battle. Okay, so unfortunately, my live recording did not record properly, which is a real pain because this was an absolutely fantastic match. But anyway, I'm going to try and post comments, which I do apologize for. I know you guys have been really liking the live comms, but there's literally nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. So, as you can see, he brought the Smeargle, which I knew was going to be a massive pain because it could set up hazards, it outsped everything, and all that annoying stuff. The Zygarde as well, I had to be careful with. I was interested to see what he was going to do with the Farfetch'd. I did not want that guy to sweep me or do anything like that, so I had to be careful. If it got to +2, things could get a little bit hairy. Not massively hairy, because it is a it's a Farfetch'd, but I'm sure I'd be okay. And then what I noticed though was Slowbro took on so many things, and I could switch into so many things. I could switch into Beartic, I could switch into Zygarde, I could switch into the Donphan. So I knew he was going to be absolutely huge for this match. So we're going to play through. I led off with Hitmontrees as he leads off with Picasso here. Now, I went for the Bullet Seed, predicting him just to stay in. And unfortunately, he goes for Fake Out here. Now, at this point here, I should have been very, very clever and click Spore. Because he had nothing to switch in. He potentially could have switched into something Safety Goggles. But I thought, you know what? There's a chance that this Picasso could be the Safety Goggles set itself. So, because that would just be a really, really, you know, decent set. Especially with me leading off with the Breloom. It makes sense for me to Spore it. So I went for the Bullet Seed here as he switches out into KFC. So my over prediction definitely cost me. I went for Mach Punch actually. I do apologize. So I then switch out into Regigigas because I can take any hit from this guy. I take this Overheat like an absolute champ. This is a Life Orb Moltres, which is just absolutely crazy. Goes into Beartic as I go for the Icy Wind because anything that switches in would then get a speed drop as well, which works quite well. He switches back out into Picasso, predicting me to switch into Slowbro. Now, I can't afford for my Slowbro to fall asleep, so I have to switch out here. I go into Hitmontrees as he goes to the Dark Void. Very well played on George's part. Getting that off there. Also having Dark Void as well means he can bypass the fact that I'm Grass type, so Spores don't work. So that was a little bit cheeky on his part. So now I've got Sleep Folder at the very least, so I can switch out into Empoleon. I played it against this... this Smeargle just completely messed me up because he's now able to get up his Sticky Web and go for Final Gambit, and I predicted him to switch out here potentially, so I went for the Ice Beam, predicting him to go into, I think it was the Zygarde. I'm not 100% sure why I went for Ice Beam there. But it was a massive misplay. To be honest, I couldn't even defog because the Final Gambit was still going to take me. Yeah, the Smeargle was an utter mess, and I was not looking good to start with. We got the Sticky Web up on my side, which isn't good, though, to be honest, with my team being so slow, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. He goes out into Zed here now. He's basically making sure that I can't defog anymore, because I can either choose to preserve this, try and get the defog off on something, which isn't looking particularly likely. The trouble is with that, though, is if I do that and he sets up a DD, I'm in trouble. So I decide to stay in here, as I'm going to eat my Sugar Berry, but unfortunately it is not enough to be able for me to be able to live that. I can go into Brainwash now, which is very, very nice, and fire off a Ice Beam. He goes into Beartic. There's pretty much nothing a Beartic can do to me. He goes to the Grass Knot. Luckily with that Assault Vest, that's going to come in clutch, and that's going to do absolutely nothing. I'm just going to go for Psyshocks here, and then finally to clean up with a Scald, because he had nothing to switch in on this guy. Out comes KFC here. I'm going to switch back out into Regigigas. At the very least, Regigigas is going to offer me a good number of switch-ins, which is quite nice, and also wear down this KFC through Life Orb Recall. He's going to go for the Fire Blast and take me out from there. Old God may not have done damage, but he did a reasonable amount to wear down that KFC, which is pretty good. Now, at this point, everything could take a really good amount of damage. My Metagross would be taken out, my Slowbro would take a huge amount of damage, which I don't want, because once this KFC is out of the way, I'm good to go. So I send myself out into Lord Helix, which puts him in a very tricky position, because if I decide to Shell Smash up, as he switches out, it's GG. But if he stays in and takes out the KFC, it's a little bit harder for him to actually end up winning. And I predicted him to stay in rather than switching out. The trouble is, if I'd have set up the Shell Smash with the speed drop that I had, it meant I actually didn't outspeed this guy at max speed. So I couldn't afford to go for the Shell Smash here. So I decided to go for the Hidden Rock. No, the Ancient Power, was it? Whatever his special rock move is. I think it's the Ancient Power. Maybe it is just hidden Power Rock. Or some form of variant like that. So out comes the Zygarde here, and he's going to go for the Extreme Speed to take us out. I went for Ice Beam there because I couldn't afford this guy to set up. So I now go into Brainwash here, and I know I can take any hit against the guy. So I just go for Ice Beam. Really, really nice. Takes a little bit of a chunk on Donphan. He goes for Knockoff. I knew he was probably going to go for Knockoff, but I wasn't too fussed because I don't need my Assault Vest anymore. There's no more special attackers, so it's not particularly necessary. It means I can take future knockoffs even easier. So I just go for Scald here, as he shows he's got the Pasho Berry, which is interesting. I'm going to switch out here, go into Hitmontreat, because now his Sleep Fodder, I don't need Sleep Fodder anymore. I can sack off Hitmontreat, and he ends up going back out into Sergeant Quack now. Now, I didn't want him to set up SD, so I had to go out into Bullet Bill, as he decides just to go for Brave Bird, doing a tiny little bit to my Metagross. He goes for Knockoff now to get some damage off, knocking off my Sugar Berry, which is a shame. I'm going to go for a Rock Slide here and take him out. Now, this is where it's very, very important, because as you saw in the Team Builder, I had Ice Punch on this Metagross. Now, for some crazy reason, or probably because Showdown hates me, it didn't have that, so I ended up not having Ice Punch on this guy. But George had a very good idea that I would do. Like, it would make sense. It would make no sense for me not to have it. So basically, at this point, I was like, oh my goodness, if this Zygarde Dragon Dances up and sets up too much, it's game. Literally because I haven't brought the Ice Punch. And I had a few tense moments right there, which was not good. So I decide to switch out here to go straight into Slowbro, because I can't touch this guy, as he's going to go for an Earthquake to try and take me out. So that's absolutely great. He goes for Crunch here, really whittling me down, and also the defense drop as well, which is really, really unfortunate, as his Yeshi Berry is going to come through. So I switch out into Metagross here, and this is a really, really big risk on my part, because this is all I could do. I need Regenerated stuff back, but what I don't want him to do is to Dragon Dance now, because if he Dragon Dances now, it's basically game. I can't switch Slowbro back in and take 2 hits, and I can't take yeah, basically I couldn't switch Slowbro back in. So I was in a lot of trouble right now, and I basically had to bank on the fact that he realized it was GG, there was nothing he could do, and he wouldn't Dragon Dance up, he would just go for EQ. Just to try and risk the crit, because the crit was much better chance than me not having Ice Punch. So I stay in here, as he goes the Dragon Dance as I switch out. Now I know I'm in trouble. But he goes the EQ here because he realizes that he thinks he's going to lose. But if he'd have Dragon Danced up again, that would have definitely been game. So I can go back out into Slowbro now, and I can take a Crunch, and that's really, really nice. Gets another defense drop, which is quite funny. And I'm able to take him out with an Ice Beam. So basically securing the win from there. So that was a big, big mishap on Showdown's part, but ended up being very, very useful. No, not useful. But I ended up pulling it off, basically. The bluff worked, and I managed to finish this game with a 2-0 victory, which is just absolutely fantastic. To be fair to George, he literally had nothing for the Slowbro. So, yeah, that definitely helped me in my favor. But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you guys at the next one. Macadii out.